Thank you for another spiritual discussion. I have been studying Kabbalah for about 3 years now, and what I'm about to share with you in this video is a result of my studies. So do not hate the messenger. Let's take a look at the purpose of creation. All creation is the desire to receive. That is, it is the feminine origin relative to the creator, who is the masculine origin or the desire to restore. In other words, the creator is considered masculine because it gives or bestows. The creation is considered feminine because it receives, is a receiver. In turn, creation is also divided into the masculine and feminine parts. If creation becomes equivalent to the light and becomes the same as the light, then it is called the masculine part. On the other hand, if it remains without the light and receives, then it is called the feminine part. This is all from the point of view of creation's correction. In our world, everything occurs as a result of the division of Adam's soul into 600,000 souls. In other words, there was a breaking of the souls and in the beginning at 600,000 souls, and it kept breaking to accommodate the population that we have today, so that each person has a portion, a part of the soul, of the original soul that was created. These parts are different in their degree of correction. All names of the Torah, the Bible, are spiritual attainments along the ladder of ascent. Over the course of our existence, we go through reincarnations and we return to this life many times. Afterwards, when souls pass the barrier and enter into the perceptions of the upper world, it is no longer significant who is a man and who is a woman. The soul does not have a gender. Of course, there are differences between souls, but they are not purely based on gender. The Creator created his creations in the form of still, vegetative, animal, and human natures. The still nature is the lowest, and the human is the highest. The entire universe consists of two components, the Creator and the creation. He created. The Creator is the one who creates, the bestowing one, the upper and determining one. Creation is the receiver, the lower and its subordinate. It does not want to submit it to his desire as a slave. In other words, the Creator did not create creation to be a slave to it or to serve it, but the Creator had a desire for the Creator, for the creation to become equal to the Creator. Rather, when he created creation, he gave it every opportunity to rise to the highest level and become equal to the Creator. The Creator is not afraid of partnership or competition because he is absolutely perfect. To the degree that creation or man becomes perfect, he acquires forces equal to the Creator, becoming equally mighty and creating in the same way the Creator does. And this is the desire of the Creator. These possibilities for creation are not yet manifested in our world, and we are toys in the hands of nature and the laws of creation because we ourselves are not yet able to direct the path of correction. Therefore, it seems to us that creation differs from the Creator. and that creation, the receiver, is lower than the giver, because that is the way that it is now. The Creator designed things this way in order to give man the opportunity to transform himself into a bestower from a receiver, to equate his original level to the Creator's level. It may seem to us that the difference between the sexes is purely external and hormonal, and that we can make a man into a woman in a purely mechanical way by using surgical and hormone replacement. However, the difference is much deeper, and it lies in the very root of the universe, in our soul's roots. The difference comes from there, and precisely we, men and women, have different types of souls. Men and women's souls come from different spiritual sources, and therefore they incarnate into our world in such different creatures. All the differences between the sexes are caused precisely by souls, as well as differences in types and subtypes, classes and subclasses of all creation. A spiritual root flows into a form of our world, and it determines all attributes of that form, meaning all the attributes of our body and personality, everything that can possibly be said about each of us. The difference in spiritual responsibility, meaning the path of men and women correction, comes from the difference of their spiritual roots. It does not come from the fact that in our world we are slightly different from each other in our animal bodies according to our hormones and external features. Therefore, feminists think that in principle there is no difference between man and woman, and the sexes must be equal in everything. However, everyone receives the same reward. It does not depend on whether a person was born a man or a woman. It depends only on whether he or she has used all the opportunities given to it or her from above. We can see that even in our world, despite everything, men and women have naturally different functions. Is there anything higher than the act of birth? It is an act equivalent to creation or equivalent to the creator. A man's entire pride consists in the fact that he is able to bring something to a woman and give to her. He thinks that he wins her heart by doing this. Why is the preliminary work different for women and men? Because for a woman's soul, much less work is necessary in order to become corrected compared to a man's soul. In order for a woman to enter the spiritual world, she does not need to do the great amount of work a man must do. If she studies on her own once a week or teaches someone else, then this is sufficient for her to enter into the upper world. A woman's soul is more corrected than a man. All problems come from men rather than from women. Female souls come to this world in order to help male souls overcome this path and come closer to the spiritual. Therefore, the correction of a woman's soul consists in providing help. Women fulfill their roles in this world even if they do not study Kabbalah, but the same is not true for men. As a rule, women's souls fulfill positive functions in any case, in contrast to men. If a man does not study Kabbalah, then he advances only along the path of suffering. It does not matter whether a woman is married or not. Both a single and a married woman are able to pass the barrier into the spiritual. A man, however, needs to be married because otherwise he will be unable to carry out many of his corrections. However, this does not apply for a woman. Let's look at a woman's nature. In reality, a woman's nature is a very good one. After all, a woman's ultimate necessity is to be given the opportunity to express love. She wants to have a man that will be able to apprehend the self expression of her love and her desire to be loved. Men are not ready for this. It is part of being uncorrected. If they knew a woman needs only to be given the opportunity to express her feelings and her devotion, then they will require very much. The reward will be great. The reason for this comes from the spiritual root. Therefore, women in our world suffer more than men. Men will not understand women, and they will not be able to give them the necessary small drop of correct relation towards them. This has to come as a consequence of spiritual correction. This can never become corrected in this world. It is possible only through the point of union with the Creator. We can ascend to the level of the Creator only if we connect with each other spiritually. Therefore, a man who obtains correction begins to understand the necessity and importance of a spiritual connection with a woman. Let's look at the family situation. Even now, in our world, we can see that everything is leading to the fact that a person remains alone. The family is completely disappearing. Soon, there will no longer be a family as such. This is taking place because egoism is increasing. The increasing egoism does not allow people to be together. Egoism becomes bigger, and a person first leaves his tribe, then his family, and then he begins to feel bad enough with his own self. Then he begins to search for the Creator. But this is a gradual process. In perspective, each person's egoism and all humanity's egoism as a whole will increase, and we will not be able to find any satisfaction in marriage. Huge problems will emerge between people with regard to the connection between them. A person will find fulfillment in turning off the connection with others. However, the pressure of the upper law of nature pushes us towards equivalence to the Creator, and it will cause such suffering that man will realize his egoism to be evil. To the degree he realizes that he will want to correct himself. To the degree of his correction, he will desire a connection with the Creator. To the degree he desires a connection with the Creator, he will also desire a genuine connection with his spouse in this world. A person who wants to come closer to the spiritual must be like everyone else. He must work like everyone and have a family and children. The important thing is what a person does in the 2 to 3 hours he has free after work and responsibilities at home. Does he spend them in front of the television or in a restaurant or in a bar? Or does he make efforts in order to achieve the spiritual goal? The difference between man and woman in our world is the consequence of the relationship between the male and female parts of the soul. In our world, we can see that men and women perceive the world around them differently, and they have different responsibilities and tasks. In the spiritual world, the male and female parts of the soul complement each other. Every person asks himself, why do I live? In essence, this question This question is about the person's origin, about the source of life, that is, about the Creator. We spend our entire lives as in a dream. We search for real pleasure, and when we do not find it, we do not turn to the spiritual. Instead, we search for satisfaction by constantly changing the fashion and standards and producing more consumer goods in order for the carrier of new pleasures to avoid running out. Otherwise, we will feel a life that does not give us any pleasure. What can we give a person when he has such emptiness inside? A person does not care whether something is true or false. The most important thing to him is whether something is sweet. A person first asks the question about the meaning of life at 6 or 7 years of age. If we do not give him an answer, then he begins to look for it everywhere else, including getting into trouble. He follows his peers, thinking that they know what is right, and he becomes influenced by his environment. On the other hand, if we create a clear understanding about the world in him in order to reach this goal, then things such as drugs would not concern him, maybe not even getting into any trouble. The physiological body does not have any spiritual attributes. It must simply be healthy according to its physiological index. Based on these indexes, we can mutually change the parts. We can change some of our parts of the body, and nothing would change. Take a person, divide him into parts, and replace all of them with parts of different people. The soul will remain the same, even though all body parts will be new. We have to take a part of the previous body and say that this little part of the previous body is the most important one. All the other parts are attached to this body, meaning they are an addition. Now the question arises, what shall I take from the previous body in order for it to be the most important thing relative to the additional parts? 30 to 40 years ago, everyone was convinced that the heart is a person's soul, his feelings, or his I. Now we understand that the heart can be replaced, but not the head. The head is a calculating mechanical or a computer. It remembers, learns, and accumulates experiences, but in reality, it is simply a machine that computes the most comfortable way to achieve what the soul wants. When the universe becomes completely revealed to a person, he feels the one and only force that always works on him, and he calls this force the Creator. And bringing this video to a close, please feel free to share it with others. If you would like to see and hear more of this type of content, please click the subscribe button below on this channel. I will also love for you to post your comments and questions below. I'm very curious as to how you perceive this video and the information that was given. But in posting your comments and questions, just be respectful to one another. Until next time, I will give out more information pertaining to the concept of Kabbalah. Thank you.